You know, I've talked about the gifts that black children have. Gifts second to none. We were given the best gifts in the world. We were the first people God ever even created.
All right.
We have minds that are second to none. Yet somehow we've been deceived into thinking that to use them is to be non-black. That means our consciousness has been created by someone else. Consciousness then is a power. It's a type of power. How much power consciousness has depends upon its level and its organizational state and its functional state. That's why other people who want to use other people seek to control their what? Their consciousness. Because one thing about consciousness, the state of consciousness you're in determines what you're capable of doing or not doing. If you're in one level of consciousness, you can do one thing. If you're in another level of consciousness, you can do another. One of the greatest problems we have to solve in trying to achieve our fullest development is knowing how to control our consciousness in such a way that we can bring to a task or a problem with something and the level of consciousness appropriate to it. You say, how to match level of consciousness, organization of consciousness with problem, with circumstance, you see, and how to be able to do that through our will. That's a very difficult task to achieve. In other words, then, when we know our body needs rest, it cannot get rest if we remain in a state of wakeful consciousness, can it? Not in the deepest sense. It cannot receive the restoration and rebuild itself as long as it's highly what? Aroused. So what do? We put ourselves, or let ourselves do what? Go into the consciousness of what? Sleep. You see? And once we go into that consciousness, the body begins its healing process and reparative process, you see, and recreating process. And we awaken, energize, and heal, and with the clarity of consciousness that permits us to function. And you can't get that kind of healing and clarity of consciousness and restfulness and reparation unless you go into the consciousness of what? Sleep. But while you're asleep, you can't do what? Certain other things. So there are things you can do when you're awake and alert and in that state of consciousness that you can't do when you're asleep. And there are things you can do when you're asleep that you can't do when you're in another state of consciousness.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. Back again. What's going on, Cassidra? How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
You
good.
sound good this week, forecast.
I sound good.
So far.
Yeah, wait till we see show it and then hopefully it'll work. But I still ain't got a new computer, so I'm just being kind of cheap.
Somebody donate forecast a computer.
Shouts out to my brother Anthony in the building. Appreciate you coming
Yeah,
through.
hey Anthony.
Rest in power to and Nada Lewis, the host of BT Teen Summit back in the day.
Oh
You know
wow.
Teen
What
Summit, I
happened
don't
to her?
know
She
her.
died?
Yeah, he said she died.
Oh wow.
I don't know who
Okay,
she
rest
is,
in
but
power.
yeah,
Okay.
RP.
Anthony, where you at? Why you ain't up here? What are you doing tonight? Anthony should have been up here.
Yeah. Because we definitely got some good ones, good topics tonight, Cassandra.
Yeah. It's about time to be, we start talking freedom, How do we make this move? How do we be successful? How do we get back to us? How do we get back to supporting us and living again, How do we get off the plantation?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
All right, so there go my brother Anthony right there. What's going on, my brother?
All right.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing, man?
We good.
We are good.
Hey, y'all, hey, that sister Ananda Lewis. Remember, she used to host that BET show Teen Summit back in the 90s.
I know Teen
You know that?
Summit, but I don't remember her.
Yeah, they remember she the one kind of looked like that girl, Tatiana Ali. They say she favored her a lot. Remember from the Fresh Prince of Bel Air?
Yeah, I know Tatiana Ali.
Yeah, well, Ananda Lewis looked just like her, but she was taller than her. And she was the host of that show, man. She died from she had cancer. She died from cancer, man. She had like stage 4 cancer. Yeah, she passed, man.
Oh,
So she
damn.
was a host. She was a host of BET and remember that show on
What was her
MTV
name?
or TOL.
What was her name?
Ananda Lewis. Ananda Lewis. Yeah, her name was Ananda Lewis.
Yeah. Oh, RP to that sister, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
But
I'll send you a video over later on forecast. You can see. You'll know who she was, man.
yeah. Send it because I'm gonna
Oh
probably
wow,
forget.
no, I see her. What did she used to play on?
She used to be on BET Teen Summit. She was a host.
Oh wow, I sure hate to hear that. Man.
Yeah. Hey man, y'all give me a minute. I'll be right back. I'll be up in a minute. I gotta go take care of something real quick.
All right, do your thing, my brother. Um, so we're gonna get started though, Cassandra. And definitely RP to the sister, Ananda Lewis.
I sure hate to hear that. I'm trying to think if I ever seen her on the Cosby. I'm trying to think of what I've seen her on. I don't think I've ever seen her though.
Mm,
Man, I hate to hear that she was born in '78 in Los Angeles and died. She was so young, 52 years old. Wow,
wow.
that's a baby. That's young.
Yeah, that's too young for
Wow,
that. But that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of black people in our 50s and stuff like that be going out.
man, that's so sad. And I'm telling you, it's this food, it's the it's the I ain't gonna say the words, but it's that thing we took. They were forcing people to take that too. Got a lot to do with it. A lot of people was coming up with some, some health stuff, you know, but they don't want you to talk about that. And then
Yeah,
how they were saying it was bad, for us and stuff, but they don't want to talk about that either. But whatever. That's why you don't take everything people want to give you.
yeah. I know I ain't
No.
get the jab, so
Mm-mm, 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 no, sir. I ain't gonna let you hurt me on purpose. I know your history.
all right. So, Cassandra, and let me know if I start messing up once I share it, because it could have
Okay.
been just messing up last week, but we'll see right now. All
All
right,
right,
so I'm
so I'm
sharing the
sharing the
screen. Do I
screen. Do I
sound all
sound
right
all right
still?
still?
I'm
I'm
good.
good. Oh, nope, nope. Got it.
Is
Is
echo?
echo. Can you
Can you
turn
turn
off
off
when you're
when you're
sharing,
sharing,
maybe
maybe?
the
The
volume to
volume to
what you're
what you're
sharing?
sharing?
No, I
No, I
got my
got my
headphones
headphones
in.
in.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
So
gonna
we're
have
gonna
to
have to
do
do
it
it
the
the
same
same
way.
way.
I'll
I'll
just
just
play
play
some
some
of
of
it.
it.
But you
But you
sound
sound
clear to
clear to
me. I
me. I
don't
don't
understand.
understand.
You
You
sound like
sound like
you're.
you're.
I can
I
hear
can hear
myself.
myself.
Let me
But
see.
now I sound clear.
Yeah, you sound clear. Yeah, but when you start sharing, are you sharing on two different devices? Can you turn off one of the device or no?
No, I'm only sharing on the computer.
Well, why is that? I don't know why it's doing that. I have no idea.
No, they're trying to hate on my channel. I don't know. This is so.
That's what happened when your channel was good like that.
I don't know what's going on. I can try a different way. Let's see.
I'm like, what in the world? This is crazy. You know what? That lady reminds me of somebody that played on Fresh Prince. That little girl. Is that what he
Yeah,
was
that's what he
saying? The
was
little
saying.
girl. Okay, was that her?
No, that wasn't her.
Oh, okay. She looks just like her though.
Yeah, that's what he was
Looks
saying.
just
She
like
looked
the
like
little.
her.
Yeah, she might have been one of her family members because she showed favor.
Do I sound regular now?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see the
Yep.
screen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what's up.
I see the little tripping man getting ready to trip up the stairs. The
It's going
leader
to get
that
into the other
failed.
ones.
Yeah. What'd you do different? It sounds better.
I just shared it a different way.
Okay. That sounds much, much, much better.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
At first, I was sharing the entire screen. That's what I've been doing this whole time, but I guess it just
Really?
stopped working.
Okay. Yeah. It stopped working, but this way is better. Yeah.
All
You
right,
need to
good.
remember this way.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this one is good because he ain't fall all the way, but
Not all the way, huh? He only tripped 3 times the last time. 3 times. I was like, what in the heck? That's symbolic. People don't understand that. When you see stuff like that, that means America has fallen. That's what that means, especially when your leader falls. You know, your leader 3 times. Oh my God, that's terrible.
yeah,
But people don't never look at stuff like this symbolically.
he's just gonna be like, I ain't fall as bad as Joe Biden fell, and he kind of right
Mhm.
though. But anyway,
Oh Lord, I thought that was Biden. He didn't fall. I thought that was Biden.
no,
That's
that was
Trump.
Trump.
That's the orange man. Oh, okay. I thought that was Biden. They all look the same.
They
You
all
can't
out
tell
look
them
the
apart.
same. You right.
All made off the same cloth, honey. Devils, demons, and devils, hybrids.
You know they was gonna cry if Wayne showed this one, considering. I just wish he fell harder so it could be more funny, you know.
Mm. Oh, he failed too. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
you kidding?
Hmm.
Are you
And then
serious? Him
Rubio.
too? Jesus, what? I swear, we don't need to have nobody in the office older than 50 looking crazy. Look at him, look like a hunch, look like a grouch. Oscar. Oh, Oscar the Grouch over there. Them folks
He
be
tried to
looking
play it
crazy.
off.
Now y'all turn down, looking
Then the
crazy.
other dude, Rubio,
Oh, he failed too?
on the same thing.
You got to kid. You got to be kidding. Oh my goodness. You got to be
But so
kidding.
they ain't fall all the way, so
That don't make no sense. I didn't see Rubio fall.
he just tripped a little bit, just like Trump did.
Hmm.
But anyway, because
Yeah, he had the word to laugh at Biden, who's only failed 3 times.
hmm
Can't nobody outdo Biden. Ooh, the fired and the Dookie man. Dookie on himself on stage.
you know they was gonna get mad if we ain't show that. So,
Oh yeah.
but
We
anyway,
definitely have to show that.
I wanted. They took this other video off Facebook, but he got it. But check this out, considering this probably should have been last, but this could be last still.
Mhm.
Can you see
Who is
it?
that? Who is that?
Can you? Some white dude in
I've
the
seen it, but
store.
it's not good. I mean, it's like a picture, or is it supposed to be a video?
It's a video, but
It's
it's
not
on
saying
pause.
nothing.
I know it's on pause.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Oh,
All right, just um,
Mm-hmm. Ain't talking.
you can't hear it.
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, I see.
You still got it on pause?
Nah, I think I gotta do it this way. I
Mm.
gotta stop every time. All right, you good? Can you hear it now? All right, I'm gonna play it. Is it playing?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
It's
Nope.
not.
It's freezing or
Oh.
something. You
Oh
ain't
no,
pausing
but
it yet, did you?
I'm pausing it. I'm just saying, can you hear it? Let me play
Nope.
it.
Not saying nothing. Uh-uh.
It's still not saying that?
Mm-mm. Nope.
What's up?
Mm-mm.
Damn. Um, all right. Can you see it?
I
My
can
mic
see
sound
it.
bad though.
Nothing.
You can see it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can see it and hear it.
Does
Does
my mic sound bad now?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. What's going on?
Go ahead and finish playing. Just don't talk to it.
All right.
You the bitch! And you not doing
He's wearing that head out.
I tried to help you. 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 I love you, dude. I tried to help you. Stop, girl. Stop. No. I tried to help you. I tried to help you. I tried to help you. Don't touch me. 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 How about that? Yeah. I don't want to do. Stop. Yo, let him go. Let him go. They tired. They tired. Oh, bitch. What's up?
Hey, nothing about it. Though.
You saw that,
That's
Cassandra?
crazy. That is crazy. That was crazy. What were they fighting for?
The white boy, I don't know. The white girl dude was doing some white girl stuff, and then the white dude came in there and started calling the brother nigga. You know, like I kill you, nigga.
Wow. Got beat up.
Got tore up, and then he talking about something. I love you.
He loved who? The black man?
Yeah, he said that to him after when he was on the ground. He's like, please, I love you.
After he beat his behind. That's what they get. Good. Them cowards, boy. Them things, they cowards. They ain't hitting on nothing. Ain't nothing by yourself. They ain't nothing by themselves. But they can sure be something like wolves when that black dude was in that bar. When you by yourself, they can, and it's a bunch of them. A pack of wolves will catch them by themselves. They ain't hitting on nothing.
So let me do this. Now, damn. Hold on. Can you see the screen?
Everything is so negative around us. I figure we do something positive tonight. I can.
All right, yeah. I wanted to play one last thing, and then we're gonna get into it. Huh? Yeah, it's not on yet.
Okay.
Because the brother brought up some of our cancer. I want to show this what they just played on the news about cancer in our hair. All that stuff.
Okay. We don't hear nothing. You might have to do it the other way because you don't hear nothing.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna just have to do it that way.
Are calling it a health emergency.
A new study finds harmful cancer-causing chemicals in certain synthetic braiding hair products. Channel 2's Audrey Washington spoke with some health experts.
Can you hear it?
You still there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Cause.
Experts and social justice scholars
about
why those harmful products, Audrey, are mostly marketed to black women.
Right. The report about cancer-causing chemicals found in synthetic braiding hair is sending shockwaves through the beauty industry. But now some health professionals believe these products that are targeted to black women and girls specifically are a form of environmental racism.
You can dress it up or down because of the curls.
By now, we've all seen them. The flashy beauty supply ads usually displayed in black neighborhoods that promote braiding hair products. But recently, some of those products were tested, and the results...
What do you say?
The video skipping.
See, I don't know what's going on.
Everything they do for us is harming us. I don't know. Leave that mess alone.
Yeah.
are disturbing.
Not knowing if I may be a candidate of cancer in the future or now, I don't know.
A Consumer Reports study found
Take that
cancer-causing
damn
chemicals
hair.
in all 10 brands of braiding hair tested. 3 had the chemical benzene.
Benzene is mostly linked to leukemias.
Chemist and Emory University professor of environmental health, Carmen Marcet, explained how the chemical disrupts the body.
And it's this chemical that can go in and bind to your DNA and lead to mutations. And so it's that what could go on to form a cancer.
We reached out to all 10 companies whose products were tested. Only 2 responded. Both companies stated their products are safe and questioned the testing methods. But Dr. Marcet says benzene doesn't need to be ingested in order to be harmful.
It's near your face, so that's in your breathing zone.
In 2024, I first spoke with Dr. Marcet after the FDA proposed a ban on certain chemical hair straighteners that were found to cause cancer. Those products mostly marketed and used by Black women and girls. So I had to ask, is the placement of these products in majority Black communities a form of environmental racism?
I think it plays a big part. I mean, it's really...
Well, you know,
Now,
that's
Black
pretty
folk know
obvious
this
stuff.
and they hear this, they still do it. Exactly. That's the obvious stuff. Did you see the one where the story where the fireman went in the building and left the kids to die? This was recent.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that one.
Oh man, I should have sent it to you. I was like, and this is so recent, but this is stuff that be happening because why do we keep depending on them? This is what I don't understand. You know, these people are dangerous. We know this forecast, but we'll still continuously to buy their products, to allow them to go to their hospitals, to deliver our babies. And half of the majority of Black women going to the hospital to deliver babies aren't coming out. And we know this, but we're not doing anything to change this. Whose fault is this? Whose fault is this? We know about these products, but whose fault is it that we continue to buy it? Thinking, oh, it's not going to happen to me. Well, stop buying it. Stop putting braids in your hair. Lock your hair up. Locks look better anyway. Just keep them fresh, keep them up, keep them oiled down, and wear your locks. That's all. We don't have to deal with this stuff. But we do because what? Because it won't happen to me? I'm sick of that. I'm sick of everything that they have for us is causing death. Everything. Everything that they give you. Food, death. Hair, death. Relaxers, death. Police officers, death. Firemen, death. Ambulance, death. What is it that everything about them is death. So why do we keep trusting them? I'm just tired. This is ridiculous. It makes no sense to me. Everything about them is bad. And we keep trusting them for everything. That's dangerous. Didn't somebody say to trust them for your every breath is deadly? Who said that? Was that Malcolm, I think? It was Malcolm or Gregory. What's the Gregory man name? Gregory
Hines? Or Dick Gregory?
Yes, Dick Gregory. Was it him who said that? It was somebody that said it. Might be Malcolm. I don't know. Somebody said it. And they said to rely on them for your every breath is dangerous. I think it was Dick Gregory, if I'm not mistaken. That's very dangerous. And right now, we're relying on them for everything. And that's how they wanted us. That's why they took your power. That's why they closed your businesses. That's why they closed down where, we used to go to high school and get, trade schools, right? You used to come out with a certificate for HVAC, plumbing, everything. You could open up your own business. They stopped that. Why'd they do it? Because too many Black folk wasn't going to college. And they was coming out and get their own businesses. And they wanted to take your power away. These demons and devils are horrible people. And we still don't understand it. We still keep trusting them for your every breath. That's sad. And it's not their fault. That's our fault. Because we're not trying, even now, not to do anything for ourselves. That's bad. You're not done with them yet. You're not done with these people yet. You're still trusting them for your food. This food is horrible. I stopped eating out. It's too salty. It was getting to where I eat out, my blood pressure would be high. Why is my blood pressure high? All that salt they was putting in their food. I just quit eating. I quit eating it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that to my body. I'll rest with that.
No, that's facts. And the lady on the thing talking about, oh, it's surprising. There's nothing surprising about that.
Why do they keep saying that? What's surprising about that? We've been dealing with them for fucking 500 years. What's surprising about death? About them? That's what they do. That's who they are. It's not going to change. So why do we keep dealing with them? I don't understand. What is it going to take? We keep doing these shows and it's just making no sense. Then people get mad at us for talking truth. You have to go and watch somebody that's telling you a whole bunch of lies, or showing you some type of division, and you'll suck it up. I rest.
Yeah, facts. So Cassidra, which one do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about like the positive thing, or you want to talk about the other thing you were saying?
Well, it's up to you. We can talk about the other thing and then come back to the positive stuff if you want to.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I'm gonna play the video that you sent me. And,
yes,
I
that
gotta
one
play
right
it
there
this way.
kind of upset me.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go on mute and play it, and then I'm gonna stop so
Okay.
we can talk about it.
Okay.
I do got rights. No, it's all right, son. The world needs to see how she act, because she crazy.
Here's this star going back, by the way, from your raggedy ass mouth.
I just came to see my son graduate and give him a gift. That's all I did. You didn't make him by yourself, sweetie. And you ain't raised him by yourself. Look, I bought my son a gift for graduation. And look how she acting. Got my son crying because he wanted to see me. But this how bipolar people act. She just, I don't know what's wrong with her. Wake up, just stay praying, all right, bro? Love you too, man.
Yeah.
Stay praying, stay prayed up, son. It's gonna be all right. Stay prayed up, man. I love you.
This is a video that you don't want to miss. Hit that link below.
He said she's bipolar, but he slept with her. What's that say about him?
Yeah, I was about to say that, but
what does that say about him? You can't blame him. We have to start normal people out here, okay? I'm just saying black folk, period. We have to start vetting these men and women before you sleep with them. Stop sleep with them. I had a guy come up to me today, one of my students, and was talking about that very same thing. You know, he met a woman. He came out the service. He met a woman. 3 weeks later, a week later, I guess they had sex or whatever. And then the next 2 weeks later, she said she was pregnant. I said, how did she know that soon? That's probably not your baby. I was just honest. Come on now. How you know? You don't usually know that fast. I said, so how long did you know her? He said, a week. I said, did she seem like she was crazy then? The whole week? You ain't see nothing? He said, yeah. I said, then why did you get with her? Oh, I was just getting out. Then we have so many excuses. No, let's start vetting these people. Get to know them. Stop sleeping with them tonight. Stop it. You meet them today and you're in the bed with them tonight. Stop doing that. Let's start vetting these people, because a lot of black folk, I'm not even talking about other cultures. I'm saying black people. We have been traumatized. We have mental illness going on, and we don't even want to admit it. We won't even go to therapy. We won't even go to counseling. We say, I'm good. No, you're not. If you're popping off, or that there's, you triggered easy, or you got some issues, you have issues, if you bipolar, if you don't know what it is, you need to find out, because some of y'all need medication. And if y'all need medication, go get your medication, please. I'm telling you. But I'm so tired of black women in particular. I'm going to get on the women first, right? I'm tired of you guys trying to raise these boys by yourself. I seen one lady, her son was like 17 years old, and he had trashed her house because she took his cell phone. I mean, trashed his house, and she was just fussing. And she said, and then I called the police. Now you calling the police on your 17-year-old son that you raised by yourself probably but you have the nerves to call the police on them, and you know what police do to our babies, right? So that means you want your son dead. You created that, but you called the police on that. Why? But where was his dad? Was his dad one of them dads that wanted to be around, but you wouldn't let him see him? Or every time he would come around, you give him a whole lot of heck, you give a whole lot of mouth, or or he'd have to jump through hoops to see his son. I know women like that. It behooves me. I don't understand that. I don't get that at all. I don't. I would never, before my first husband, before he died and we divorced, I would have never kept his kids from him. I would never. Never, 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 never. I made sure that they saw him. I made sure of it. Even if I had to drop him off at his mom's, go get your kids at your mom's or whatever. Both sides, I always allowed them to see his mom too. Even though she was, his mom was a little, okay. But I didn't care. I still dropped them off. But you got women that will make a big deal and just to keep that son away from his dad just because. Why? Because you jealous because the son want to have a relationship with his dad? Don't you? That's normal. I would love that. I want my son to, to want to be like his dad or want to be around his dad. I want a normal child. Most women don't even care if their son is that hurt his son. That now she's telling her son that he can't be around his dad. Why? Now that boy is sitting up there crying. She don't see those tears. She don't care about her. We don't care about our children. I don't care what you say, forecast. We do not care about our children. Look how we treat our kids. Her son is up there crying, wanting to be around his dad. And the dad say, "Oh, son, it's okay. Oh, it's okay." That dad is wanting to go. What would it have been the harm for him to come on, be with your son today? It's his graduation. Come on by the house. Let's eat some food. What was the problem? Or come get your son. I already had him. He's been with me for 7 years. I think he said it was 8, or what did he say? He was how old? 8? I'm not sure. I forget. But my thing is, why didn't she just allow him to, hey, come on over, get some barbecue, get some weenies or whatever you had, or come get your son and take him and, just take him somewhere. Especially he was upset because he wasn't going to see his dad. The little fellow is crying. That meant he wanted to see his dad. So how does that make you feel okay by making your son cry like that? That's horrible. And then she probably got mad because he was crying because he wanted to see his dad. Why do we do that? And I've seen men on same now. We got same token. Men do same thing. They won't come. They won't see their child. They know they got this baby. They'll go and Becky and see her son, right? But then the black woman's son, the black woman whose son has a son by you, you don't spend no time with him. But the white Becky, you got her son at the park in a stroller, pushing him and her, and that's not even your child. She done had that by somebody else, and you with that son pushing him in the stroller, or that child pushing him in the stroller, while your son is at the house with no dad, no father figure. We got to stop. We have got to stop. Enough is enough. That's more harm than good. I believe that if you have a relationship goes bad, you have a son. When that dude leaves, honey, you pack his stuff up and take him with you. If he from 0 to 10, I think the mom needs to raise him, and from 10 on up, the dad needs to raise him, because I think he needs both parents. But if you have to separate, mom, you take him first 10 years, the second 10 years, 10 to 20, the dad got him. You can get him on weekends, but let that dad have him. I believe that right there is a healthier child than you just keeping him away, or him that's not even seeing him at all because you got an attitude every time he try to come and you flipping out, or every time he got to go through hell to come and see his child. No man want to do that. And don't no woman want to go through that either. If every time you drop the child off over there, he ready to fight. Nobody got time for that. Dude, what's wrong with you? It is time for us to do better by our children. And then I seen one guy, he was sitting up there blaming the woman for the way the little boys are today. I'm like, how do you blame that on a woman when the man wasn't even there? How are we not blaming both parents, the man and the woman? How are we not blaming both? It's not the one or the other, it's both. Both parents should be in their child's life. And if that woman is raising that son for whatever reason, and that dad is not there, then however he comes out is not her fault. It's not his. It's both of their faults, I think, because it takes two parents. Because some of this stuff that I'm seeing with our children, it shouldn't be. It's like that little baby who's very highly sexual. She's 3 and she's dressing and dancing like a grown woman. That is inappropriate. No baby should be talking no fan and shaking. I mean, like dancing. I can't even do what she was doing. I'm just saying. I'm seeing grown women dancing like her, and she's straight. And you got grown men coming to see this 3-year-old. What the hell is going on? Something ain't right with this picture. They're driving hours to see this little girl who's 3 years old, and they call her what, Shirley or something. Shirley somebody, I don't know. This is that's her stage name, I guess. But she's 3 and she's dancing very provocative. I mean, for a 3-year-old, I'm like, something's not right in your house. If this is okay with you, mom, then something's wrong with you. Now that's when a child needs to be taken. Something is going on in that house. But we have to do better. We got to do better. And I rest with that.
And I'll say this before I pass it to my brother Anthony, right? Um, like for me, one of my biggest issues or one of my like I guess fears, I guess, was to be like a baby daddy or baby mama kind of situation, especially
Mm-hmm.
with the wrong kind of women, because
Mm-hmm.
you can't just walk away. For me, I couldn't just walk away from a child. And so that can create a life of hell for you if you're not picking the right
You
woman
ain't
to have
lying.
a child with.
You ain't lying. And
And
vice versa.
and vice
Mm.
versa. And the thing is, right, I had to realize because even with me, like I would have my own issues when it comes to picking women and usually go for like the unavailable women, but that's because you be like emotionally unavailable. Like, but what I had to realize, because the brother sat there and said, "Oh, she got bipolar and all that stuff." Like, why would you even say that? Like, I know you're trying to diss her or whatever, but it's really a diss to yourself because you chose to have a child with a bipolar person, right? And not only do you got to deal with that, but now you have issues that could be passed down generationally. And I understand it because, like, dealing with the women that I was messing with before I had to realize why I was in the situation I was, I still can understand why they became like they are. Because when they were children, they were violated, you know, to a whole nother level. Like they were violated and developed this thing where they have severe trust issues. Like I know a woman, not to put her out there, but like she's a grown woman and her father from when she was a child was never in her life. And she talked to him recently and he still was not there for her, like in her like as a grown woman. And she even told me, like, yo, I felt like that same little girl when he rejected me. And this is why it's difficult for this person to form healthy relationships with people and go after the wrong men to try to get certain validation. But then when you do that and you end up having children, then you are creating the same cycles over and over and over. And me as a man, like I know that if I was to go do something like that with the wrong kind of person, is going to determine a lot. So you got to figure out yourself why you are even attracted to a bipolar woman to have a child with in the first place. Because a healthy person would recognize red flags. Like Cassidra, you mentioned like, oh yeah, I only knew her a week, but you can't know somebody barely in a year. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't even see all of the occasions or whatever they do. And then as soon as they do something crazy, you like, damn, I can't believe it, but you never took the time to get to know this person. You ignored all the red flags that was there. And what people don't want to talk about because they always blame the other person is you ignore the red flags because there's something also wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? You need therapy to figure out why you picking those kind of women. Those women need therapy to figure out. And unfortunately we have way too many themes going on to where it's like, oh yeah, this is my first healthy relation. Like it doesn't, the therapy that we need to deal with ourselves on a like why what made you attracted to keep going back to a woman with that's bipolar to put yourself in the situation, like were you in the situation as a child or not, or whatever. So but my brother, and shouts out to Matron in the building. I appreciate you coming through.
Even with that forecast, what you just said, as far as men dealing with women that are emotionally absent, okay, even with that, we always have to look at ourselves to see why are we attracting for one that type of woman or man. Why are we attracting? Because I had a really good friend, all of her men were unavailable because she grew up with her dad without, right? But every man that she dated was unavailable. They were good guys, but they just weren't. I mean, emotionally, they didn't know how to have a relationship. They just, they never said I love you. They was distant, and they was just not, but you have to understand what was going on with her to attract that in the first place. So this is why I say Black people, we need healing. It's mandatory for us to have healthy relationships. We don't even know what a healthy relationship is because remember, our ancestors were slaves. They got beat the hell out of. They got abused. They got raped. They got molested. They got alligator. They got their babies snatched away from them. They got their babies murdered. They got their husbands murdered. They got their wives murdered. They got their wives slept. The master came and took the wives in front of the husband. How do you think that made him feel when he couldn't even raise a hand to this man that was sleeping with his woman in front of him? So these are issues in the Black community today. Then you had a man that had like over 200 babies. He was sleeping with everybody, because he was at at one of them farms having babies. So you have to look at the traumas that's being passed down, that has been passed down and still being passed down in our DNA. So you look at Black men and you're saying, oh, why you can't be, more with one woman? That's not in his DNA. And then you look at his granddaddy was like that, the great granddaddy, the great, and every man had like 5 women on the side. You know what I'm saying? And then you think this one's going to be like, like he's going to be there for you. He's going to be normal. No, that's some DNA stuff passed down from DNA to DNA. But we're not looking at that. We're not understanding that. But it's time for healing. And I wish we can start it in these elementary schools with our children. That's where it needs to start. We need to be educating our own children. And we need to have a counseling session in every elementary, middle school, and high school. It's mandatory. And it needs to be called heart to heart. We're getting that heart issue. We're getting some of that generational stuff out of there. And it should be a counseling session, whether it's a class participation, like how sometimes you have, Friday night, some churches have, what you call that? They come in and they, I can't remember what it is, but they come in and they talk about their little problems and recovery. That's what it needs to be. Maybe a Friday night, the students come in and, you have psychologists and you take a group and, you therapy in them. We have to start somewhere. And I'm not talking about a white therapist. I'm talking about all Black therapists, right? I think that needs to happen, needs to be implemented in our schools with our children, because we really, really do need some help for him to attract a bipolar woman. And then he's talking about it, but dude, that speaks volumes about you. How long was you with her? She wasn't bipolar when you was sleeping with her, was she? I'm sure she was, but you didn't care. She wasn't bipolar until you had that baby by her. Now all of a sudden she's bipolar. Well, she was bipolar, but what happened to you for you to attract that in the first place? What's going on in you for you to attract a bipolar woman? And vice versa, women. What's going on with you if you're attracting a man that's abusive or beating the hell out you every day, or abusing you or calling you all these names and you're okay with it? You blaming yourself. What's going on with you? And I'll rest with that.
And I'll pass it to the Anthony. Like, let me say real quick, because just to jump on what you said, like, and that's why it's important to start with the children, because a lot of it comes from low self-esteem, really, and it's thinking that's what you deserve. So, you had to realize like your generationals passed down, like, yo, keep your eyes to the ground, like, and for a reason, because they don't want to see their children get killed. So I understand, but we see so much trauma. Like, we don't even have to go back to slavery. Like, we could Jim Crow, all that stuff. We
Yeah.
seen towns get burned down. We know, we see, oh, if a leader like Malcolm X gets shot, then now nobody's gonna do nothing else after that. We see all of that. But then, not only that, we turn on the TV right now and see how black men is pimps and thugs, and they might got a movie or two today, but like, you go to school, you got a white teacher telling you that George Washington was a hero and the only good black person ever was Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? So,
sold you
and
out.
and all of these black heroes was actually terrorists. You know what I'm saying? That the
Exactly.
ones that you know about. And you grow up in a culture and a society seeing anti-you. Everything is anti-you. So you develop an anti-you
Yep.
mentality in some
Exactly.
level, you know,
Exactly.
even if it's just low self-esteem and like lack of self-love and thinking that you're not good enough, because
Yeah.
that's what they want us to think. And
Yeah.
that's why they created an environment. And but
Yeah.
that's why it's important for you to control your environment
Yeah.
in the first place.
Yep. And even with the TVs, even with the television, let's turn it off. Let's recreate it. We can't watch something positive that's going to build black people up. Let's turn off those movies. Let's not even watch it. Let's get our own shows together where we can produce our own stuff. We have very talented, movie producers in our community. You have Ron Dalton. He has his own show, Hebrews to Negroes, but I can't think of what it is now. But yeah, you have to pay a little money, but still, he has positive shows on positive movies, right? We won't go and support that. We'll sit up here and support your cable bill that's almost $150 and all this nasty stuff and all these black movies that's dysfunctional. But we'll watch that all day long. But when you have a man that is talking about your history, who has his own TV, his own movies, we won't support that. And that's only like what, maybe $7, $7.99 a month, $8.99 a month, maybe 10. I'm not sure. But you paying a whole lot more with cable when you have all this disgusting stuff that you're watching and you're okay with it. That's a us problem. That's a us problem. And until we shut that down, nothing is going to change in our community. Then you got music that you got kids singing this, all this cussing in this music. And I'm like, what in the world? And I mean, it's just a song and you got 5-year-olds singing it and the parents sitting right there. I'm like, hello, are we hearing this? What's going on here? But this is allowed in our community. That's not cute, because we're still allowing our children to be emotionally wrecked. Then you send them to their schools and then subliminally they trying to, they got this white woman over you, and every year they ask the kids, what do you want to be? And then they tell them, oh, I want to be a doctor. And then she had something to say, well, you can't, you're great. Then she started tearing them down. You know what I'm saying? So when are we going to get to the place where we're educating our own babies, where we're making a difference, where we're beginning to do the healing for ourselves that our children need? And us too, us as adults, every Friday, you need to be making you an appointment at that therapist's office, because no, you're not good. And I rest with that.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, my brother. If you want to say something, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I pretty much agree with everything. Can y'all hear me? Okay. I pretty much agree with everything that y'all both said. You know what I'm saying? But I like what you said at the end forecast when you were talking. It goes to self-esteem. A lot of it goes to self-esteem, and low self-esteem rather. A lack of self-love, and we know that's rooted in everything that y'all talked about. Our relationships with our parents, with our fathers and mothers, and even all the way on back to the plantation. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, which is everything that we already know. We know the whole post-traumatic slave syndrome thing. But I'm saying, yeah, it's definitely, speaking as a man, and as a young brother when I was younger, I had the problem too, forecast, relating with sisters, man, like like even approaching them at the time. Now I had my brothers didn't have that problem. They were easy. It was easy for them. But I had that problem because I had a low self-esteem problem. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a lot of female friends or girlfriends at that time. You know, and it took me to finally, I think probably when I was in my early 20s, man, when I like really my early 20s, when I really had my first girlfriend, man. I mean, I ain't talking about puppy love, but there's a girl y'all, kissed each other on the cheek, when mom and dad then were looking, but I'm talking about my actual girlfriend, and like, I mean, on one hand, it was the greatest thing, and on the other hand, it was the worst thing. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of those issues that I had, as a young man, as a teenager, as an adolescent, and everything, they all started coming back up at certain times, And then next thing I know, I'm finding out I'm arguing with this young lady all the time, and arguing, and sometimes for no reason. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it was just a mess. You know what I'm saying? But it was a learning experience, though. And it kind of prompted me to delve into other things, man. Why did I handle it like that? And where did this come from? And, it was at this time when I was coming into my consciousness, my black consciousness, my African centered consciousness. Everything black. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, it was a self-esteem issue. And in talking with other mentors that would sit me down and explain things to me and say, and take me through why I was feeling this way. Explore why I was feeling this way. And I mean, yeah, it was a real thing, man. It was a real thing. That self-esteem issue is a very real thing. And I mean, it is something that you have to continuously work on all your life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not just your first relationship or just just in life general, not even a relationship, but self-esteem, and when you try to go in business or everything, you know what I'm saying? If you got low self-esteem, you can think, well, I can't compete with these people over here. You know what I'm saying? I can't do this. It's always a mindset of I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? When you can do it. But but that kind of mind state when you let it take the whole control of your brain is I can't do it, or what's going to always go wrong instead of what's going to always go right, or what could go right. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, I think that's one of the pivotal things that I think we had to work on as black people, man, among ourselves as grown people, but especially with our children. You know what I'm saying? The self-esteem issue. You know what I'm saying? The self-love issue. I think that's something that we need to hammer home. We need to hammer into our children's mind, our young boys and girls' mind. You know what I'm saying? So they won't keep going for the same bullshit that we went through. You know what I'm saying? Over and over again. I'll pass the mic.
No, yeah, that's definitely facts, my brother. And yeah, that mindset, right? And then when you get into those situations, right? And we got to talk about where it come from, and then how it develops. Then you can't develop healthy relationships, and I definitely understand. But then it goes to another level where I never felt this way, like. But then it does lead to anti-black, like, because you see a lot of this stuff is like, damn, is it because I'm black? And that's why a lot of people try to escape their blackness. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you relate with the wrong people and you think that is all good, but then you realize, you find out the truth about who a person is. But that's because you're supposed to take time to get to know somebody instead of trying to, like, get validation or try to, like, search for, like, love or some kind of completion. But the trick that they're trying to play on us is that it doesn't come from outside of yourself. It comes from yourself. Like, nobody can fill that void, right? And I know there's a lot of brothers that come on here who would be like, yo, F my mom, F my sister, I'm not black, when they are blacker than anybody on here. You know what I'm saying? But I don't go hard on them, because imagine what he been through to say something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody told me some real stuff, like, yo, well, don't try to understand crazy people, because, you know what I'm saying, like, you can't understand why they do what they do. It's something that else is going on there. And I want to play this next one. uh let's see, I'm gonna not say too much. See, I could play the same one, but I don't know if this real, so let's just
support. I got customers in here.
You ain't paying child support. We ain't worried about them. They need to know you ain't paying no money. They need to know you ain't paying no child support.
Let me get some straight. Hold
you
on.
ain't spending time with them.
Can I talk, please?
Nope. Nope.
How
nope.
you gonna
nope.
say about the
nope.
child support?
Nope.
But then you
nope.
knocking my money and stuff. So how?
Knocking your money? That little $50 ain't gonna do nothing. Where my money at?
I stopped there because it's probably fake, but you know, y'all get the point. I meant to play this one anyway. Now y'all see that it's not just black people, it's white people up in court, but we don't care about them. We're gonna talk about black people right now.
Message for the toxic baby mamas. Watch this.
To the bitter baby mother, why is it that the moment that you and this man are no longer together, the first thing you want to do is take him to court for child support? What, you broke? Well, he don't provide for the child. Do you not know what falls up under the umbrella of providing for a child?
No.
Why you didn't take him to court for joint custody then? But you don't understand what you're doing. You unconsciously raising another human to be toxic. And you wondering when your child grows up, your child has abandonment issues because you wanted to control the narrative so bad. You kept this child away from its father. But the father wasn't providing for the child. You didn't make it your business for the man to properly provide for the child by taking him to court for at least joint custody so that the man can be able to see his child. But see, you want to control the narrative. I don't want my child around another woman. Why? Because it's not you. So you trusted this man with your life and he nutted in you, and you trusted this man enough to give you a baby, right? But you think that this man is going to have his child around somebody he don't trust? Smitty, find you somebody. But to the man that keeps fucking this woman, stop confusing the situation.
Message.
What you think? Shouts out to Raw in the building. What you think about that, Cassidra?
I think it's so much. It's a lot. It's a lot, you know, and I think she's right. A lot of times, you know, that woman just keeping up a lot of mess because she can, because of hurt, because of rejection. And here we go. We go back to the little traumas that we've gone through. You know, is every man that she's getting with treating her, you know, bad a certain way? Okay, if that's the issue, then sweetheart, if you attracting every man you attracting, you got issues with his whatever, or him, you know, cussing you, beating you, or whatever, then it's something going on with you that you're attracting that type of man. So it's some things that we gonna have to do as women to get it together, and vice versa for men too. If you're attracting these women that are abusive, that's cussing you out, that's bipolar, then it's some things about you that you need to straighten. But yeah, I agree that some of these women go through horrible breakups. They're just not, you know, when you go to break up, that's rejection. A lot of women have been rejected by their dads. So you're triggered. That's a trigger for them. You know, their dad reject them. Now you reject them, and they just don't know how to handle this rejection. It's horrible. You know, it can go, you know, it gets in your head, you know. People don't understand that when you dealing with rejection all your life, you know, and every man comes, they reject you, you flipping out, you know, and it's not even, you know, about you, it's about the child. But you can't even let him come around your son, his son, you guys' child, you know, to have a normal relationship because you felt he rejected you and you was hurt. Okay, but it's not about you, it's about your child. It's about your child. Even if you have to drop your child over at his mom's house or your mom's house, and he come and get your child, or the mama come and get your child and take him to his son or something, work something out. Don't ever hold your child back from his dad or his mom. That's dysfunctional. We don't want to keep doing that. Our children have gone through enough without their dads in their lives. You know, with Biden in office. I'm talking about when he had that Biden's law. Okay. A whole lot of black families was separated. Let's not keep doing that. Let's not do that. Let's get healed up. Let's start going to therapy. Let's start dealing with our stuff. This stuff is not going to go away. People say, yeah, I just want to be around all black folk. Well, I need you to get some help first, because I know how we connect when it's just all of us. You know, some black folk gonna have to get the little tails whooped, beat up on. You ain't gonna come over there acting crazy. You know what I'm saying? So let's just get some help. Let's do what we need to do so that we can be healed up, so that we can have normal relationships. Period. I'll rest with that.
And I'll say this real quick before I pass it to Anthony, right? Because you mentioned like with women, like they see it as rejection, but like that's the sick part. It's two people that both
Mhm.
got traumas. Because
Yeah.
like now you looking at one person like, oh, she's dealing with this because she's dealing with drama,
Yeah.
rejection from
Yeah.
her father, but
Yeah.
he's probably also dealing with rejection from his father
Yeah.
or his
Exactly.
mother or somebody in his family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Or both.
saying? And
Yeah.
they
Especially
did,
when the grandma raised them, and a lot of grandmas raising grandchildren, honey. Mama ain't there, daddy ain't there, and they dealing, grandma's dealing with that honey stuff. So that's rejection on both sides, whether it be a male or female.
yeah.
So
And
yeah,
then
rejection is a big part of it.
and when both sides feel like that, like how can either one come to any form of communication? All you doing is just hurting each other. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And in the meantime, like if you have a child with somebody,
Mhm.
which is like, I ain't gonna lie, like y'all probably would disagree with me. I used to be like, this was before I was when I first started on here. I used to be like, I think that you should really be together for at least 5 years, you know what I'm saying? But at least living together for like 3 years. Because like the first year, probably all good. Right. The second year, it'd be the little stuff that bother you, probably be cool, like, yo, bro. But like by the third year, you'd be like, yo, bro, if you don't put the thing on the coaster, I'm gonna smack you in your face, you know what I'm saying? If y'all could get through that, then y'all could probably get through at least 18 years together. You know what I'm saying? Because I think children should see healthy. That's how you learn, by example, a physical example in the home. You know what I'm saying? If you're missing one or the other, that's why you see a lot of weak men and a lot of dysfunctional women, and then we just sit there and argue amongst each other when that was the plan. Like the whole plan since we've been in America is to divide the black family, divide the black man and the black woman. Because every
Mhm.
time that we've been on the same page, we have like revolutions, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But every single time, the goal is to divide both of them, But um,
Even what you were just saying, I'm gonna have to disagree, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because a lot of times these couples have been together for 10 years. They get married and are married for 3 years and divorce. What's that about? So you never really know a person until after you marry them. Then you get to see the real them. You can date that man till for the next 10 years. When you marry him, you won't see the full him until after you're living with him, dealing with him, married. It's just something about that ring. It's just something about the ceremony where you
can,
just see all of everything about him. You
can I
don't
ask
see it.
you?
Even though you can live with people, you can live with the man for 10 years and not see it or see it, but it's just not, it's just different when you get in that marriage. Then you really begin to see, it's look like men just put it all out there. They farting out loud now, they're digging in their butts, they're digging in their nose, and getting the little toe jam. I'm just, leaving the toilet seat up and pissing on the floor, all this stuff. You seeing all of that because it's just like after you get that ring, it just goes out the window. So I've seen it, to where, people have dated for 10 years and divorced after 3 years of marriage, but they was together 10 years. And I'm like, what happened? It was just different when,
But
it was just
let
different.
me. But like, why though? Like, I would think because I never been in that situation, so I'm just asking. Like, you would think like living with somebody, then you would see everything. Why like marriage?
I'm telling you, when you say I do, it's something about that ring, something about that marriage, and something about that man just gets all, and the women too, they just get all the way comfortable.
Mm.
Well, now I can you know do different things, but it's just that like you're always hiding something. But I'm gonna go spiritual too. It could be a spiritual aspect also. Let's go there. It could be a spiritual. Marriage is honorable, right? And that's when it gets busier. When you trying to do the right thing, you living together. That's not an issue. But when you making it legal and you're, like I said, marriage is honorable, right? And you're doing it the right way and you trying to do it the right way, you always gonna have some mess that's gonna keep its head up and say, we ain't having this. This is too much like right. We ain't letting you do it right. We liked it better when you was over there doing what you ain't supposed to be doing. Okay, which is living together. But some people do it. I mean, you have more black men now, they'll marry a white woman more so than a black woman. And I'm like, well, what's going on with that? But you have to understand the bigger picture. Everything is spiritual, and people don't understand that. And I rest with that.
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah. What you think, my brother?
Okay. Hey, that was kind of funny, you know. Especially, hey, listen to what Cassandra was saying. That was real funny. I want, I got to say something about this right here. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Let me give me a minute now. All right. Forecast. I think you was right when you said that we should get to know each other first. Now, how long that takes, I don't know. I think that because I think too many times in relationships now with men and women, we see each other and it's the attraction thing that's first. You know what I'm saying? It's the attraction thing first instead of the you thinking about other things, more important thing. It's the attraction. Oh, she look good, he look good. You know what I'm saying? We get together, and then after we done been together for a minute, for a year or two or whatever, we find out, man, you know what? We ain't got so much in common. I see things this way. She see things this way. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that could go on for 5 years or 10 years or whatever. So I'm saying like, yeah, I think that there should be a period that you get to know your woman, your woman get to know her man. I think they need to talk about things. No, let's sit down and talk about what's your goals in life. What's your political? I mean, whatever, anything that's important to you. How do you think? To try to find out to get to know your partner. No, I mean, I think that would help for the relationship. That's basically it's counseling. You know what I'm saying? Can we go back the things that bother us? If you come to with talking about things in your past, you know what I'm saying? That we need to talk about. Something that might come up in the future. And I'd be wondering where this come from. I mean, I think getting to know each other is a real thing and a good thing. Okay, the next thing I wanted to say, I used to live next door to my grandfather's cousin. He's dead now. He died in the 90s. His name was Ezekiel Rubin. We call him Cousin Zeke. Him and his wife Miss Hannah. They got married in 1914. I think 1914, 1916, something like that. They got married then in 1914, 1915, 1916. They stayed married until both of them until they died. Well, Cousin Zeke, he died in 1990. You know what I'm saying? He died in 1990. Now they were married. It's from the 19 teens to 1990. And I used to go over and sit on the porch and talk to him. When he died, I was like 22, 23. I used to go over there and sit down and talk to him. He asked me, man, Cousin Zeke, man, how y'all stay together so long, man? I used to ask him stuff like that. And he was just like, and she said the same thing. She said like, yeah, it was times where he got on my nerves. Yeah, it was times when she got on my nerves. I mean, people gonna get on each other's nerves living in the house together. And then imagine them living that long together, some 60-some years, 70 years. But she said they basically said like, you know what? I look at it, I say, well, if I could live with these little old couple of things right here, I think we could, we could keep the relationship going. If they just found like, okay, this is what I can deal with. This right here I can't deal with. Just really discuss it, talking to each other and saying, hey, look here. Having understanding, really, that's basically what they came down to. Having understanding. And I think like in a relationship, man, whether it's a 5-year relationship or a 20-year relationship, or whether y'all ain't even married yet, y'all been together 5 years, y'all, common or whatever. I think probably the most important thing is having good understanding. You know what I'm saying? I think good understanding will take you a long way. It might, we might lay there and do some stuff like I said, farting out loud and leaving the toilet seat up and the most stank ass feet, putting that old hot steamy man breath in your face. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if y'all got good understanding, I think, some of them things, hey, I can go over there and change this. I can do this here. But I think some of those things we could deal with. But I think the chief thing to me, what I found out was understanding.
No, I definitely feel you. That's real talk. For two live somebody that long, it got to be sort of understanding. And also, like I want you to know, like, even if you are together for a very long time, but like you fight a lot when you like your children are young, that still affects them. You know what I'm saying? Especially like we know sometimes it gets physical. You know what I'm saying? People put hands on each other sometimes. It happens. But your children are seeing that, you know what I'm saying? And to be able to find an understanding and to be able to have, just different kind of discussions and all that stuff is just different. And go ahead, consider.
Even when you mention putting hands on people, I find out even in relationships, if you don't start that, that was never something that I did, in a relationship. I just didn't believe, because when you open that door, then that man is looking at, okay, she put hands on me, so it's okay to put hands on her. No, it's never okay to put hands on each other, period. Because a lot of times women don't understand, we tend to um, be the leader. You know what I'm saying? If the man sees us doing it, then they're going to do it. For instance, and sometime in therapy, they'll say, hey, if you want the man to do something, you do it first, and they'll follow the lead. And men don't understand that. So if you want more hugs, you hug him more. You want more hits, you hit him, and he'll start hitting. See what I'm saying? So a lot of times you're really the lead in the relationship, and a lot of women don't understand that. If you want them to start doing something, you do it first, and they'll follow. And I rest with that.
No, and consider, before we go to this positive thing, I want to see what you think about this. I want to play this one and see what you think about it.
Y'all claim don't exist no more. I had that type of man. I had him, and I lost him because I was stupid, foolish, young, immature, possessive, mean, with a nasty attitude, ungrateful, entitled, and ignorant. I had a good man, and I lost him because I, first of all, was shocked that I even got somebody like that. I had never had nobody like that before. And I went into overdrive just doing stupid shit to try to control him and put my claws into him. And it was unnecessary because I had somebody who loved me for real and did not cheat. Loyal. Oh, loyal. If you got some man like that, please do the work. Be appreciative and be grateful. Don't be entitled. Do kind and nice things for him. Don't just be a taker. Give back. Respect him. Oh, respect him. Because that man, baby, he gone. He with a new woman. And she looked happy as hell. She looked happy as I did when I was with him. I'm happy for her. You live, you learn. But I'm here to tell you, you guys always say, oh, there's no good men that don't exist. They exist, but they are rare. And if they came into your life, take this message as go get some therapy, go get some help, go heal, go work on yourself, and pour back into that man, because a good man will wake up one day. Good men are not blinded to the fact that they are a wonderful person to be with. They just love your ass. And when they love you, they stay and they stay and they stay and they stay because they hoping you will get it together one day. They're not staying with you because they don't know that they're a good man and they may not be able to get anything else. Oh, baby, he know. He counting down on your clock. He counting down on your clock. So work on yourself. Don't lose no good man, because I'm going to tell you, they are rare. And since I've been out here in these streets, it ain't nothing for me in these streets. They all trash. That's all. That's the tea. That's the word. I hope I can help somebody.
What you think about that, Cassandra?
Why wait until you meet him? Why not get it now? Because we know that we're damaged. Black people are. I don't know. I have nothing to say about white folk, but I'm just saying about Black culture. Why not get it now? Why not put your child into therapy. If you have, teenagers, and that's what I did when my girls got older. I, say, hey, you guys go. And I'm not saying that we had issues or whatever, but I wanted to make sure that they were good, that they're, because their dad wasn't the best, because I grew up without my dad, right? So I didn't really understand how or, what a man's job was. I didn't know a lot of stuff because, like I said, I was only child. My mom, grew up, her and I. So I grew up without my dad, right? And I was a product of rape. Everybody knows that. That's nothing new. So growing up like that is a very different childhood, because you grew up with a lot of rejection because, my dad was a rapist. Okay. So my mom never got over that. So even today, we're still not really that close, but, we're mom and daughter, but still, that relationship still, can use some more healing. Right. But, I made sure that my daughters went to counseling, therapy. I said, before you, because their dad, because I, like my first husband, their dad was, he was, he used to do drugs. It was a mess. It was a lot, but I didn't understand. So I wanted them to get help for that. I wanted, because they saw a lot of, sometimes he was there, sometimes he wasn't, sometimes he'd be high, it was just a horrible situation. But as they got older and we grew, I went to counseling, put my girls in counseling because I didn't want them to attract their dad, because that's what they knew. That's what they grew up with. So I wanted to make sure that all that was ironed out. I'm serious. And even now, I still tell them, hey, do your, checkup, do your maintenance. I still believe myself. I'll go, then I'll stop. And then when I feel like I need more, I'll go again, and then I'll stop, and then I'll go again. But I'm just glad that I sent my girls to do it because they have great mates. You know what I'm saying? But who knows what they would have gotten if they had not have gone to counseling. They'd have had a man, just because I would see the guys that my oldest would bring home, and I'd be, no, we're not going to do that. One guy was hearing voices. I said, oh, hell no, we definitely not dating him. And, he asked one day to me, he said, he asked me, can I date your daughter? And I said, no, because her and I had talked. And I said, no, sweetheart, you can't date my daughter. And he asked why. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you. I said, you hearing voices. I said, one day that voice tell you to harm my daughter. Who's going to stop you? He said, my mom, because I asked him and I talked. I said, who stops you from, doing crazy stuff? You hearing voices and they tell you to do whatever. He said, I call my mom. I said, what happens if you don't get your mom that day that he's telling you to beat my daughter to death? Okay. You know what I'm saying? That was a conversation we had. And he said, and he got quiet. I said, no, you can't date my daughter. I said, because I'm coming. Then I'm gonna have to go to jail because you heard, man, I'm coming. I swear. I'm not one of them men. I am not one of them women that's gonna say, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm you gonna get the same treatment. You feel what I'm saying? So no, I said you can't date my daughter. So they, didn't, which is, that was, when she was probably like 12th, 11th grade, somewhere 10th, how they call themselves gonna date somebody in 10th grade. And I was like, no. And I began to explain to my daughter right then and there. I said, okay, you get with that dude gonna give you problems for the rest of your life. Okay, and at first they were friends, that's what she was saying. And I said, I don't even want you to be friends because I'm gonna tell you that spiritually, the enemy will make that man look like a piece of cheesecake. Make him look like your favorite dessert. I said, no, I don't even want you to be friends with him. And that's how much control and how much understanding my daughter and I had. And she listened, she was one of them children that would listen, when I would tell her something, hey, this, and then I would explain why this is what we don't want. And why don't we, but I was just grateful that she listened. She didn't have to, but if she wouldn't have, it would have been her life, not mine, and she would have found out the hard way. But, my daughter was not one of them children that wanted to learn the hard way because she would, learn from other people's mistakes. So she would, but it was just amazing that she understood later why, after I talked to her about it and discussed it, I said, you could be with him for the next 20 years and the next 20 years could be horrible, okay, I know you like him, but you guys are friends. So you can hurt for this little 2 months or whatever, because you can't be friends with him no more, because you don't want that type, you don't want to sow that type of seed. You don't want that type of person in your life. You want to have, the thoughts of wanting to date him, because it's not somebody that you would want to be in a relationship with. Even if he got some help, them voices, where they come from. How, they gonna come back? Are they ever gone? Who knows? But that's not, excuse me, that's not somebody I wanted my daughter to date for her future. So, and I mess with that.
Yeah. And I'll say this before I pass it to Anthony, right? And I agree with you. And I didn't mean to laugh, that was wrong because really we gotta understand we born into their hospitals, you know what I'm saying? So we could get messed up from birth, you know what I'm saying? So like a lot of people have paranoia. But the thing is though, somebody else's trauma is not your trauma to deal
Right.
with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're not
That's
supposed to do
right.
that.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
agree with you 100% about what you said, because like you said, he was like, "Who's gonna stop you?" He was like, his answer was, "I wouldn't do that." He said, "My mom."
Yeah, he
So
said his mom, but I'm like, no, because that'll be one day
yeah,
your mom, you won't be able to contact her. Then who's gonna stop you? Then you didn't
exactly.
hurt my daughter, and I gotta go to jail because I'm coming. Because I swear I'm coming. You're not gonna hurt mine for free. I said, so
Yeah.
your best bet, bruh, is not to even date. No, you can't date my daughter. And I wasn't even trying to hurt his feelings. I'm glad that he asked me, because back in the day, that's what they did. And I was like, no, you can't. Then I wanted him to understand why. I didn't want to make him feel bad. I just said, no, you just, because if something happened to mine and I already know you're hearing voices and I'm gonna say, yes, hell no, you're not getting mine. You're not gonna hurt my child because no, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting myself through that. Because then I got to grieve and I got to be dealing with PTSD now and kill somebody and I got to go to jail. No, we're not doing that. You can't date my daughter. Because
And
I told him I ain't one of them moms, honey, just gonna forgive. I'm gonna forgive after I do what I need to do, handle my business. Then I'm gonna ask your mama to forgive me.
right,
I'm
right.
just saying, nah, we're not doing that.
Nah, I understand. And that's another thing I too wanted to say because like when the young lady was talking, she was like, "Yeah, a good man will put up with this and this and this and stay." But that's not a good man thing. You know what I'm saying? A
Yeah,
person
that's
who has value and worth for himself is not going to put up with.
not gonna
He
put
has
up
his
with
boundaries,
right.
and that's what each person, as a group, we gotta learn boundaries. Like, yeah, don't come in my country
Have
and take
to
my
know the
stuff.
definition
You know
of
what
a
I'm
good
saying?
man. That's not a definition of a good man.
Right.
That's
That's
not.
not
I mean,
it.
he tolerated
So
a bipolar woman. So how was he a good man? Because he
right.
didn't beat the hell out you? No, that's not. He had issues himself because he attracted you in the first place.
In the first
So
place.
that's an issue.
And consider, the crazy part, I had to realize, like, I was attracting what I was, and I became something different, and then you track something different.
Mhm,
You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
You
mhm.
realize your worth, and you find some, like, if you're talking to yourself, like, oh, damn, I'm terrible, I'm not good, I'm not worthy, you're gonna only find somebody who's gonna tell you, hey, you're not that good, you're not worthy of me. But if you understand I'm a who I am, I'm worthy, you're gonna find somebody who's gonna tell you who you are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when she keeps saying like, a good man will put up with this and put up with that, that's not
Mm-mm. No,
necessarily
sir.
true.
No,
That's a kind
sir.
of codependent man.
Yeah, exactly.
You
But
know,
she called him a good man, and to her, that's probably the best man that she's ever had. So to her, it
exactly.
was a good man. But no, that's not a good man. That's a codependent man. So
Hmm.
that's some other stuff going on with that. So, but that's probably the best she has ever had.
And that's what says a lot, because
Hmm.
when somebody treats you right, you know what I'm saying, like now that becomes the standard. But then that goes back to, like, if your father is not treating you like you're supposed to be
Right.
treated, you're gonna be like, well, this dude, he treated me the
Right.
best I ever had. But so he gotta be a good man, but he's not. That's not necessarily a good thing. It's for
Right.
somebody to put up with so much thing. And it's not to just hate on him or nothing like that, but
Right.
as a man, you gotta realize too that you have standards and boundaries, and you have to pick
Right.
the right woman yourself. We
Right.
all got to do that. You know what I'm saying? She might got trauma, but I got trauma too. So
Yeah.
I got to heal myself before I can heal any other person. And I'll tell you this, it'll never work. Like trying to save a woman will never work. You know what I'm saying? You have to save yourself and the right people will come along. But
Even with that, I find out a lot of men they want 80 80s. You go 80-20, right? and they're a whole 20 themselves, and they want a 80. And I'm looking at, and sometimes you look at them and say, well, you ain't no 80, but you're gonna attract what you are. And a lot of times we don't understand that if we're dealing with emotional traumas and stuff, and all we have to do is step back and look and see what type of man, ladies, that we're attracting to ourselves. And if you seeing any type of dysfunction, or he cussing you out, or he's not coming home, or there's some emptiness in you, something cracked in you, something in you that needs to be adjusted, and you have to do the work. And when I say do the work, literally allow yourself to get healed. You get your therapy. And I am advocate for therapy. I believe that it works. I believe that sometimes you just have to stay single and allow the Most High to heal you. Okay. Especially, we got a lot of DNA stuff, a lot. And it's just you having time to yourself and being more aware of the brokenness in you, and just allow time and allow the Most High to heal you. You don't always have to get in one relationship, get out of the relationship, and get into another one right away. You have to evaluate and see, okay, where did that relationship go wrong? And a lot of people don't do that. They turn around and get right back into another relationship with the same kind of spirit. It looks different, but if you really looked at him, his spirit is the same exact spirit that you just left. And he just looks like a different person. Might look a little better, but it's the same person. It's the same inside, right? The inside is because you didn't give yourself time to heal. So once you give yourself time to heal, then you begin to attract a different type of man, totally different. So for instance, my daughter, I saw what she was attracted to. Oh, well, we're going to do something about that. So then after she started doing her therapy, I could see totally different men was approaching her. But it was something broken because of her dad and myself. You know what I'm saying? It was something broken in there. So we both, all of us was, hey, well, I know me and my kids did, he eventually died, but then it was time to really get some help. Okay, let's help us deal with this death. Let's help us deal with, the brokenness, and that's what took us to therapy in the first place, the death, which was, I'm not saying it was good, but I'm just saying it took us to the part where we were able to get the help that we needed to begin to see a different us. And that's what people don't understand. It takes you either getting therapy, you just remaining by yourself, you just recognizing and understanding what are you going to accept in a relationship? What are you going to look for in a man? What are you not going to look for? And you're evaluating every relationship that you get out. Okay, this time I'm not going to accept this. I'm not going to accept this. I'm not going to accept this. And when you see it, you backing up and said, okay, why am I attracting it again? Okay, I'm going to remain single for a little bit longer just so that I can get that area of my life healed up. And then you see what you're attracting. And if it's different, okay, it's time to move forward. But if it's still looking the same way, you need some more time. Be by yourself, continue to heal, continue to stay by yourself, and continue to journal and continue to allow your heart to heal. And I rest with that.
Yeah, facts. Sometimes it takes tragedy to get to. Well, you want to? What you think about it, my brother?
Okay, I'll say this. Okay, I'm gonna address this sister who's in the front. First, I'm gonna say, of course, I agree with you and consider. Of course, we as Black people, of course, we need healing. But I'm saying, but at the same time, I want to say that I just want to put this out there. I think that the majority of Black people are good people. You know what I'm saying? I think that 80% of that we are good people and we are great people. Of course, we need healing. Of course, we have our issues. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's the 20% of Negroes. I'm gonna go on and say it. It's the 20% of them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Men and women who make us look bad. Who do all this bad shit. You know what I'm saying? And it make us look bad, and then you got the media working against us and everything, and just the whole American society and everything. But what I'm saying is, what I want to say is, forecast court. I agree with you about that part. You can't fix nobody, man. And how many times we hear the narrative of a sister, in a relationship with a bad dude, with old goon, old thug, and she told me, I could fix it, I could change it. You know what I'm saying? And then going to this sister in the video, how she's saying all of the things that she did. You know what I'm saying? Well, that brother was probably saying the same thing. I'm not going to say the brother was a bad brother, or that he necessarily had those problems. I mean, hey, it could be true, but two things could be true. I think maybe the brother might have think, sometimes the brother might have think, hey, man, you know what? I see potential in her, I think I might could get her up out of there. Perfect example. Hey, look at, I ain't saying it's right, but just listen at me. Just listen at me. Like you as a mother, you say you have your children. Say you got two daughters, you got two children, whatever. One of your children, just listen. Now, one of your children might be acting a damn fool, might act a damn fool all the time. But that's your child, and you know one thing. You know, even though she act a damn fool sometimes, you see potential in her. If I could just get this. Yeah, but okay, but this hang with me because I'm trying to make a point. But I'm saying, you can say, I can see potential. You can see their tenacity on an issue when they get behind something or whatever. You say if I could just focus her in the right thing, in the right areas, and put that tenacity and put that aggressiveness and all that stuff there in this area here, she gonna do good. You know what I'm saying? But she a knucklehead. You know what I'm saying? And but what I'm saying is, but you see the potential, and you don't want to give up on her. You say, I'm gonna try to fix her. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's the same thing in a relationship sometimes. When a sister or a brother be with a person who a knucklehead to do crazy stuff like that sister in the video was saying. You know what I'm saying? But they might see some kind of potential in her. You know what I'm saying? To say, you know what? If I could just get her off of this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? This would be a hell of a chick. This would be a hell of a brother. And you think you can fix it like Forecast say, obviously, and he was right, you can't fix somebody who don't want to be fixed or who ain't ready to be fixed. Okay. Last part, I want to say this right here. I was listening to something that the sister said, and she was talking about her. And there's too many sisters and brothers who think like this. Now they get like she was saying how all the stuff she did, and all the stuff he put up with. And she talk about this and that and all this old yankety yank shit. And she and at the end, what she was saying about how the streets ain't for me and all those sit there about because there ain't nothing but trash out there. But what we got to get in our mind, men and women, black men and women, is when you hunting in the dumpster, what you gonna get? You ain't getting nothing but trash. Cause you in the goddamn dumpster. And a lot of times that's what we look. What we talking about? Why we pick the certain people we pick? Why we pick the problematic people we pick? Why some sisters get with dudes who love to put their damn hands on people? And I had to deal with that as a child at times. You know what I'm saying? With a man who my mom was in a relationship with. You know what I'm saying? Why they want to pick his ass. You know what I'm saying? Instead of leaving his ass alone. Why they want to pick her ass who do no good shit and whatever. Both vice versa. Cause we got to get our mind, our mental state out that goddamn dumpster. You know what I'm saying? We gotta choose. We gotta do better in choosing the kind of people we want to be with. You know what I'm saying? And that to me, that goes with not only us having working on ourselves. Because we got it like self-actualization, like Dr. Bobby Ray used to say. Yeah, we got to work on ourselves, but we have to. I think we have to make better choices too. You know what I'm saying? Besides just a little superficial stuff that you look good and I look good or whatever. He got a good job over, he making money, he can have a good job, it can take care of you financially, but beat your ass all the time or abuse you physically and mentally all the time. Or be the worst monster you ever seen. She could be the worst thing that came out the bottom on sprag sheet that you ever seen. You know what I'm saying? I just think we got to do a better job at that, man. But I still don't want. I still don't want to say that ain't the majority of us. I think, like I said, yes, we do. Even the best of us need help. Hell, goddamn it, I need some help now. You know what I'm saying? But I think I don't want to see it like we are as gloomy as it is. Yeah, we got problems, but I think we could overcome it. I just think we need to make better decisions. And like y'all say, I think we need to heal on the inside. I rest my mic right there.
Yeah. All right, so and I'll say this real quick, because and I agree, but I think the problem is like even the most of us who aren't necessarily bad, but we also have some sort of trauma that we're operating from that may not necessarily be like, yo, this person is evil or something, but you might have a problem connecting with a person like on a certain level, right? And the only reason why I say this, right, because as somebody who has done this before, right? Like I still think that like like, okay, she's good here, good there, but this one thing about her, what you have to realize, you're still trying to change another person, which you can't do. Like you're still trying to change, so you're not actually accepting that person. So like, is that actually a good thing? Because like, good is all relative and stuff for real, but it's just somebody who's would help you more than they'll hurt you or not, you know. But I still think like, if you feel like you can try to change somebody or help them, I think that still comes from a selfish nature from you trying to find like some type of validation and fixing this person, trying to fix something in yourself, but you can fix it through somebody else, you know what I'm saying? Because once you actually mess with somebody who you don't have to change anything about, right? Once you are able to let go, like, okay, a lot of this stuff is good and good, but this thing is a non-negotiable. I have a boundary here and I have to respect myself and me, right? You're gonna find somebody, like, maybe you won't, but I could be wrong. But I don't think I am, but you'll probably like, yo, this person I don't have to change anything about, you know what I'm saying? So I still think that point in itself comes from like you trying to find some sort of validation through that person. Like, yo, if I can fix this person, it's almost like I'm completing, like I couldn't do the thing with my mom, like on the low, like on some subconscious. I couldn't fix it with my mom, but with through this person, I was able to heal some sort of thing, because that's the only thing you get when you try. I think, well, for me, I can only speak from my point of view, but I just think like when I was doing that, it was because it was a selfish thing when it comes back to it, because I'm trying to fix them person to make them perfect for me, instead of accepting the person for who they are and going to somebody who's better than me, you know. And it was because you was trying to get validation, and then, hey, I'm worthy, I am good enough to change this person into, and I still think it comes from a low self-esteem. And once you build your self-esteem, you're just like, I'm not going to cross this level. Like if you, like you said, with that couple, if they can't get to that understanding, I can live with this. I'm good with this, and in my heart, I'm good with it. Then you compromising on who you really are, and if you do that, then you won't get what you're supposed to get, and it's probably going to create another generation of trauma. But I don't know. Um, yo, cause you want to say something? And do you want to do the positive thing to finish off with, or?
Oh, yeah, it's up to you. You have time. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I think you said, I think you said it.
All right. Yeah. And unless you want to say something, my brother, so we just go to close out.
No, we good, man. Only thing I like to say for guests is, it's, ain't none of us perfect though, bro. You ain't gonna never get a perfect brother or sister.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, none of us perfect, you know. And that's not to say we're bad, you know what I'm saying? We're relatively good, but it's it's just sometimes like you have good intentions, like Cassidra say, like you can have good intentions, and if you don't know your child's love languages, it kind of doesn't add up, you know what I'm saying? But like if you hit in their exact love languages, but we wasn't talking about no damn love languages in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? It was, boy, you get out there and get that switch, and you know what I'm saying? It was black parenting, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what it was like back then before the internet and all that. But yeah, but I agree with what you're saying, for real, you know. For this other thing, so creating passive income. Let's see. Damn, I ain't never heard that thing.
You don't need to struggle to make money. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 things that every black man should know about passive income. Turned it passive. They were able to hire resources that could do all of the work for them, and other people would make them rich. That's what you have to do if you want to have a passive income business. Also, you have real estate investments. I got a property right now in North Austin that gives me a rental paycheck every single month. But I didn't just wake up one day with real estate in my portfolio. I had to do the paperwork. I had to network. I had to make sure that I had my credit and my financing on point to even qualify for that investment property. You have to front load the grind. Front loading the grind means that you dedicate a certain window of time up front to work very hard on this venture, knowing that if you structure it the right way, you won't always have to work on this for the rest of your life. Let me tell you a little bit about Black Men's Career. I make my money through passive income. A lot of y'all are familiar with my book, The How to Succeed Survival Guide. This book does not require me to go out and sell it to people in order to make money. I don't have to take this book to the post office, send it off, put a shipping label on it, handle the customer service. All of that is automated. I front loaded the grind so that way I wouldn't have to worry about it once it's out on the market. Process. And lastly, you have to understand the importance of teams. You have to now start working with different human resources that you can onboard onto your staff that will cover emails, deal with customer support related issues. You could use different third-party companies that can take care of. Our sponsor, Webull, is offering a
All right, I'm only skipping it because of time. But I know it's
How do you make income on the side? What is your side hustle, side gig, or side business that you do? Or are you looking for one? Guys, let me know in the comments below, because I know that increasing income is a big part of building wealth. So on this video, I want to share with you my 7 streams of income and explain to you how I built these 7 streams of income after age 40. And I'm going to share some things about these streams of income that people really don't talk much about. Now, this video is May of 2021, when I was over 50 actually. Now, YouTube gives a share of its things and then how to use YouTube.
I'm sorry, I can't play it all. But see. Because since you want to play the one that you sent me.
Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, let me know. You want to share it? I got it up there, I think.
You want to share it? Go ahead.
This one? The travel business opportunity?
Productions, if you don't. Let's go ahead and do introductions if you don't mind. Grant and Sam, we'll start with you guys. You can just kick us off and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. I mean, obviously all of you know us, so it's good that you guys are on here. I'm really excited about introducing you guys to this business opportunity in the travel industry. And we're very excited to have Miss Patricia Johnson with us tonight. She is
sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat. Helen Tuttleby from Southampton in England. Life, and my husband is here.
It's like 40 something. But you want to say something about it?
Yeah. Well, see, we have to get to the point. I'm going to take me. Yeah, close that out. Well, we have, and the reason I want to talk about this was because a lot of times we don't know how to get into creating those other types of incomes. You know, we don't know how, like for instance, the one guy was talking about the Airbnb or him buying a property, but he talked about using his credit. For me, when I did corporate leasing, when I, got a property in Myrtle Beach, I did corporate leasing, which they didn't check my credit. Your business could actually buy your car. Your business could actually buy or rent an apartment through your business credits, right? So it's not looking at your personal credit to do anything. You're not using your credit for it, okay? And some people don't understand that. So that's one business. And like you said, you're supposed to have several businesses. And I love to travel. So I got into the travel, the travel part of it also. going into Intel travel. For me, that's another part of an income because I'm trying to retire, right? So I want to put everything together, and anybody can do this. You don't have to wait till you get ready to retire to create passive income. Then, of course, I have the foundation. So that's 3 incomes for myself. So I'm trying. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make yourself comfortable. So not only will you have your retirement, but you'll have other incomes. And a lot of these other countries, they want you to make so much money, and they want to make and you want to take your business with you, but you want to make U.S. money. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, I can go and get an Airbnb where I'm going, but I also wanted to have one here to make that American money. Okay. So with the travel, I wanted to start it here. So then you can make that American money. So you don't have to live in the United States in order. You can start your businesses here and you can go all over. Some of us, you can get like a maid service. I was even thinking about doing that because I believe in having several incomes, okay, streams of income. And you can do that now. You can have you can do like dispatching forecast. You driving trucks, you can do dispatching. Okay. How you're already in the system, you're already doing it, you're already in the mix of that. You can do all of that. You can lease a truck out to somebody and get one of your buddies that drive that truck. You and him work together. He running them loads and you picking them up. You getting the dispatching, jobs for him. I mean, that goes 2 ways because he's going to get paid, you're going to get paid, and you calling the shots as far as what you're going to get paid. They know, you know what each load is worth. The gas mileage. That's a good way of doing it. Also, you can, if you know how to bake, why aren't we baking our own cakes and selling them online? Or why are you not baking your cakes and taking your cakes up to Walmart? People love sweets. Even walking in Walmart, you already have them wrapped up and you're selling your cakes, whole or slices. I mean, these are things that we can actually do and use our gifts so that we can retire early. You don't have to wait till you 65 or 62 or 61 to retire. You can retire at 40. You can get a stream of Airbnbs, okay, and have it one in Virginia Beach, one in Myrtle Beach, and one in Florida. You can have them all over. Who's to say you don't have to be? And you're getting you a team to be able to do that. You can do a foundation, charge a finder's fee. Okay, you can charge $100 to $150 for a finder's fee, $200, $300. It's up to you. This is your business, your foundation. You charge what you want. You're helping people. You're creating a service. Some people, you may want a maid service. Okay, you have a lot of folk that don't want to clean their houses. Who, for instance, I had a maid as far as coming into the Airbnbs every week. She went and cleaned, and she didn't charge me but $100. I mean, come on, you guys. I had somebody in Airbnb it. Okay. I'd call her. She'd go in there, and fix it and clean it up for me. Okay. Or either somebody might have wanted to rent one of the rooms. Okay. I'd call her up. Hey, clean it up. She'd go and meet the person and she'd let them out and, go get the key at the office, let them in. Or I, had the lock box, you put the lock box up there. And she'd go in there and get the lockbox, open the key, get the key out the lockbox, and then she'd show them the apartment. So I had help. You don't have to do this by yourself, but you're not gonna let somebody come in there and charge you $500 per person to clean. No, we're not doing that. And yes, we had people, when I was looking for a cleaner, I had all kind of prices, and I'm like, well, I told her what I needed, and she was the best cleaner, and I paid her $100. That's not bad. If I got a 3-bedroom, I'm making $1,000 per night off those 3 bedrooms. I can't pay her $100. Are we serious? Please. It was a 3-bedroom apartment. So she'd go in there, after when the Airbnb, she'd go in there, clean it, and it charged me $100 because I told her this is what I'm going to pay. And if I'm doing that 3 times a week, that's $300, but I'm getting money each time that she's going that she's going in there. I'm getting money off of that. So I had the money to pay her. See what I'm saying? So it's just different ways. You can either have a leasing service. You can do, if you like animals, you can do dog sitting. You can do house sitting. You can go overseas and house sit. Some of these white folk, they got houses in China and where Canada, they live in Canada, and they got houses in, just like the Airbnb we went to Aruba, right? and these people lived in Canada, but they, you could short-term lease it. You can, they Airbnb'd it, but when the season was down, they would rent it out. Okay, that's not bad. So it's just depending on how you wanted to do it. Airbnb, it was just the better way to do it. But for me, it was, it was rooms that you rent the rooms out. But it's just so many. You can go out there and house sit. You got people that's in other countries and they have a house in Vietnam. You can go out there, or Thailand. You can go out there and house sit for a minute, for 6 months, 3 months. And, you out there keeping their house. They're paying you to watch their house. I mean, come on. They may go out there for 3 months, but the rest of the year, they're allowing you to come in there and house it. It's just so many things that you can do to make money. And we as Black folk, we are so busy working for these crackers, right? Working on their job, working harder for them than you working for yourself. Everybody has a gift on here. What is your gift? Is your gift cooking? Why aren't you catering? Why aren't you making dinners? Why aren't you, making Fridays? Start your dinners, take your orders from work and have Fridays off. And you going up there and you getting orders from people that you work with, and let Friday be your off day and you taking dinners to work. And you pre-order them. You don't have to, take all that. You don't have to take your personal money and go and buy. You're going to pre-order it on Monday. Hey, this is what I'm doing on Fridays. I'm doing spaghetti dinners. I'm doing fish dinners or whatever. And you pre-ordered those dinners. So they're going to pay you before you actually bring that food on Friday. So they've already given you the money. So you taking that money that they've given you and you going to buy the food and you cooking and you having lunch ready for them at 12. So that means you may have to get the stuff Thursday or Wednesday evening as they're paying you this money. You going, you buying the stuff and you getting up Thursday. You might have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to have that stuff done by 12 o'clock. You should be up there at the job by 12 o'clock because everybody eat 12 o'clock, 11, 12 o'clock. You should have that stuff up there by that time. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so many different things that you can do to bring in extra income. Because I'm telling you what, when the big C was here, them shots and stuff, and everybody lost some jobs. If people had other jobs, it wouldn't have been so bad. Because we was out of work. A lot of people, well, not me, but a lot of people was out of work for a long time, right? So what was there for you to do? If we had our own businesses, you have to COVID-proof your business. If you have your own business, you would have worked in business. Because I'm gonna tell you what, I'm not stopping working. I'm gonna still have my business. Because you have white folk, they had their business up and they were still working. They weren't closing their businesses. Y'all Black folk coping this, but a lot of Black folk are still working. Working for white folk, working at the Walmarts. Now tell me, we had the C word, we had the shots, right? But you had Walmarts open, you had Lowe's open. Why Walmarts and Lowe's stayed open? The big time, but the mom and pop shops had to close. Why? It was all, come on, you guys have to see the bigger picture. That was on purpose. That was to get a lot of them private owners out of business, because a lot of them mom and pop shops didn't come back. That's when you're going to, hold on to some of that money. You're not going to spend every dime. For the first year, you're going to hold that money because you want to make sure that business is getting off the ground. You want to make sure that it can run and it's going to, make the money that you need to make. So don't spend every dime the first year. Don't the first 2 years. The first year at least, don't spend that money. Hold on to it. I'm telling you, it's not hard at all. Doing a corporate leasing, you going in there and they're not charging you what they would charge everybody else. They're not even looking at your credit. But I'm just saying, there's so many things that you can do to make extra passive. And with this travel thing, it's amazing. I'm telling you, I'm so glad I got into it because I love to travel. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I get into it? I love to travel, and they have so many deals. I mean, Punta Cana, going everywhere. And I do a lot of cruises, okay? I do a lot of cruises. And you're cruising, what, 5-7 days maybe? And very good prices. Very under $500. How about that? Very good prices. I'm just saying. So, hey, if you're looking for something extra to do, I'm telling you, look into something. Look into what is your gifts. What do you like to do? That's what you want to, your passive income to be in. You like properties. You like to cook. You like to, one lady was doing like a yoga class. I don't do yoga, but a lot of Black folk do now. She had her own yoga class on weekends and made a killing. She had 20 people and everybody paid like $40, $50. If everybody paying $50 for that class and she had 20 people, how much money did she make that one day? 2 days. So she did it Saturday and Sunday, and that's all she had to do. I'm just saying. So there are things that you can put your gifts. If you have a service, you might want to do some, dry cleaning or ironing. Some people back in the day, they did ironing for people. Some people want you to come in and do some things at their house, cleaning and ironing and stuff like that they don't want to do. If you offer the service, people will do it. They'll take it. They'll buy it. They don't care. I mean, there's so many things out here, but I just want you guys to start thinking about something that you can do that's going to bring you some extra income for what's coming. Because if they lay you off, Trump just laid off 200,000 people. Can you imagine that many people being laid off in one day? Can you imagine that many people being laid off and nobody had any extra income because they thought, I got a federal job, I'm set. And they weren't. Their job was gone just like that. So think about it. Don't ever depend more on somebody else's. You work more hours on somebody else's job than you do for your own business. Networking is everything. Get out the house. Network. Get you some cards. Get you some flyers. Put those flyers up. Get those phone numbers. Get those emails. You out every day. Take your book with you. You're out every day. Take your phone book, get them emails, get the phone, and you can make a website. Hey, the first 10 people that sign up at this website, they get a gas card. You didn't say how much the gas card was. You can go buy a $20 gas card. The first person that signed, some people need that $20 gas card just for signing up, please. That's crazy. You could go get a $10 gas card from, the dollar store or something. I'm just saying, you could raffle off, so you could do so many things by bringing in people. And it's just by putting it on your page, putting it on Instagram, advertising, marketing is everything. People say, I don't know anybody. Sure you do. You got sisters, your sisters know people, your brothers know people, your uncles, your uncle know people, your cousin know people. How many cousins? Sometimes we got 20 cousins. 20 cousins know one person. You tell them, hey, call your cousins, make your list. You could start with 20 people on that list. Every cousin you got, put their name on a list and tell them to add one friend. That's 40 people right there. And then you call that one friend and they got a friend. That's 60 people right there. Okay. I'm just saying 30 people. No, 20, 10, 20. Yeah. Come on, you guys. That's so easy. It's not, everybody, you grow your list every day because somebody knows somebody. Even if you got 10 people a week, 20 people a week, because those 20 people know one person. You just went to 40 people right there if you're doing 20 people. And those 20 people, they know of one person. So what did you just go to? I'm just saying, it's so easy. And we sit up there and say, we don't know anybody. Well, of course I don't know all 60 of those people, but I knew at least the 20. You have 20 family members that have friends. And some have 2 friends. So I'm just saying, I just want you guys to start thinking about ways of making extra money. And I'll rest with that.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. And I'll say this, and this is my fault because we were supposed to be talking about something positive, a lot earlier, but we definitely had a good conversation. So we probably gonna have to bring it back up so we can talk about more things, more ideas and
we can
more
do that.
things about that, And Cassidra, before we give our last words, Cassidra, I got to do one last thing just to kind of make you turn up a little bit.
Oh God! Forecast, it needs to be positive. You and your
It's not that positive. I'm sorry.
Oh my God! Forecast, you are getting a negative threat.
Now, Microsoft founder and philanthropist Bill Gates says he plans to lobby the U.S. government to reconsider terminating its financial support to the vaccine alliance Gavi. In an exclusive interview with Focus on Africa's Wahiga Mwaura, Mr. Gates said he will be making a case to U.S. President Donald Trump to restore funding to Gavi, which he says will prevent children from dying from vaccine-preventable diseases. Already, the Africa CDC has said it has seen an increase in measles, meningitis, and yellow fever in African countries. Speaking to us at the African Union headquarters in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, Mr.
countries will graduate to self-sufficiency for these very basic things. And so what we should care about is, how does aid fit in to accelerate that? When you stop that baby from getting HIV, when you buy that bed net, when you figure out what is malnutrition, and so the baby's brain fully develops, achieves its full potential, you're accelerating that path for Africa to be largely middle-income countries.
To quote the outgoing Africa Development Bank president, he said, and I paraphrase, that Africa's development will not come from aid. It will come from investment-led growth.
Well, aid as a percentage of the economy won't be gigantic, but if you believe that babies shouldn't be infected with HIV, and aid is helping you with that, if you want all the world's science to help cure sickle cell disease, and that's not going to get organized except by aid that brings those scientific resources. Aid plays a unique role, and anybody who says aid versus something else, that's a silly discussion.
There have been global aid cuts, but more specifically from the United States by the Trump administration. Do you think philanthropists like yourself can fill that gap?
Well, the numbers are way too large for philanthropy to fill that gap. We're going to see a dramatic increase in children's deaths because we're not going to have those capacities.
Are you willing to use your considerable influence to possibly seek audience with President Trump again? Maybe ask him to consider a more gradual pullout from some of these programs, Gavi with vaccinations, for example?
No, I'll make a strong case that the U.S. should stay involved in Gavi, that it should be a leader on helping with polio eradication, that these HIV programs, some efficiencies can be gained. I'll be as loud as I can be.
I want us to pivot for a little bit and talk about and ask you about a company that you have interest in, Cobalt Metals. It's an investment company that's got backing from you and Jeff Bezos, and there have been some announcements recently about their work in the DRC, specifically to do with lithium mining. Are you able to tell us a little bit about your interests in this company?
Yeah, so Cobalt was created to use artificial intelligence to take all the data about what's buried underground and to find valuable mining deposits. And it's very good news for Africa that they've found many major deposits, and that'll generate a lot of jobs, a lot of royalties. I don't know the specifics of the DRC lithium mine. I'm glad to hear they're doing work there. I know about some of the work in other countries they're doing with copper.
The DRC, this I'm sure you're aware of, has been in the midst of a conflict in the eastern DRC, and its effects are being felt across the country and across the region as well. Deaths, displacements, you name it. There are those who would be unhappy with philanthropists like yourself having investments in a company that, to some extent, is part of the mining sector, and human rights groups have raised challenges about the mining sector. Would you see why some would be concerned about what they describe as profiting from others' pain?
Well, I don't think telling all investors to stay away from Africa is necessarily the best thing. I bet there's a way to have mines that create jobs and royalties for the government, allows them to buy vaccines, save lives, but I'm not an expert on the particulars there. I don't know how to stop conflicts. The Gates Foundation does a lot of work in the DRC. There's diseases like sleeping sickness, where we've created new drugs, new diagnostics, and the suffering for something like sleeping sickness is terrible.
Just clarify for those who may not understand the differences between obviously the work that you do and your investment in the Gates Foundation, and of course some of the interests you would have in other companies, including Cobalt Ventures.
So I created a thing called Breakthrough Energy, which is to back companies that can help with the climate change. And of course, that's a huge challenge for Africa.
What? That's not what he asked him. But consider so.
Them crackers don't leave that demon alone. I don't believe nothing he said. I don't like him. I don't trust him. Take his ass over there to Europe, and I'm sure you got some poor countries in Ukraine. Go over and take ass over there to Ukraine and do anything and everything you want to them Ukraine babies. Africa does not need your aid. Africa does not need you. You need Africa. Africa don't need nobody. Look at Burkina Faso, for instance. That president has done wonders without aid. They are debt free. They don't owe anybody anything. And he is building up his country like crazy, doing everything. They don't need America. America needs Africa, period. Ain't nothing poor about Africa. All the minerals you got minerals oozing out. If they needed anybody, they need themselves. They need to come over there. They need to do their own development. Stop sending your stuff to other countries to develop it for you. That's what Burkina Faso is doing. They're developing in their own country. And they kicked France out, kicked the United States out, and now they're doing really well. But the only thing, America's mad because this man has shown them that they don't need America. They don't need anybody. Africa is the wealthiest continent ever. And it makes me so mad when I hear them say Africa is poor. Do you not? The only reason Africa is poor because white folk got their hand in it. France they was paying France what, $500,000 a year or a month or something like that. Was crazy money. And then the money that they was getting, they sent it to France. And then when they need to borrow some money, France will charge them a hefty price to borrow money from their own money from them. What kind of shit is that? What are you doing? They don't need France. They don't need America. They can leave them alone. Let them show you what they can do. Burkina Faso is already showing people that. Pull that country up now. Since that dude got in office, he's building houses, land. I mean, roads, planes, tomato plants. I mean, he's building plants. I mean, like warehouses and, they have a new airline there. I mean, this dude is doing what needs to be done. He's using the money that's in his country to develop his country. Africa, there's nothing but, I'm sick of these crackers telling you how poor Africa is. Africa is not poor. America is poor. France is poor. France would look like a third world country if it wasn't for Africa. And they keep saying, we're not done there. You're done because you've been there. How many years has France been in Africa? And they've always had wars. They've always had terrorists. They've always had some kind of coup that France would finance, America would finance to keep the coups going so that they can stay over there and keep saying, oh, we're still needed. No, you're not. Get your ass out. Because ain't nothing got any better with France and America in Africa. Africa does not need anything. They don't need them. They don't need America. America needs Africa. And I rest with that. But you better keep Bill Gates out of there because we had already heard him say that these vaccines, all you have to do is so many more millions of people will die, and talking about giving people more vaccines and how he wanted to put that chip ID, ID in those babies. And then he wanted to get in women vaccines. No, do not let him touch your babies. Ladies, if he give you a vaccine, you'll never have another baby. That's what they want to do in Africa. They want to stop because Africa is the youngest group of people growing at great numbers. I mean, that right there is the future. And people know that. Them crackers know that Africa is the future. We just don't know it. That's your future right there. Future young generation. The youngest generation is in Africa. Under 20, under 25, I think, under 29. You got so many millions of young folk over there. Millions of young folk. And I rest with that.
Yeah, that's a fact. What you think, my brother Anthony? So he don't really know nothing about no wars, but he know about vaccine. He don't know about lithium though. But
yeah, he's the chief architect of war in the Congo. You know what I'm saying? And in other places in Africa, he know all about those minerals. Look at him. Bill Gates is one of the arch devils, one of the worst devils that ever came down the pipe. You know what I'm saying? It's for African people, for black people everywhere. That man ain't nothing but a goddamn devil, man. You know what I'm saying? And consider it's $500 billion a year. $500 billion.
I knew it was okay. I knew it was a lot of money. They was
500 billion.
Yes, that's
yeah,
a lot
500 billion. Yeah, and now that Burkina Faso and the AES states or Niger and Mali have taken their money back, guess what? France is suffering. They are suffering so bad.
Yes.
They suffering bad. They are suffering bad. And they're suffering so bad that guess what? Now all of the black people, it's about 5 million black people that live in France. And guess what? Now the black people in France ain't scared no more. They ain't like, well, we living on borrowed time, they'll kick us out. They saying fuck France. They marching in the streets of Paris. You know what I'm saying? They saying fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? And France is terrified. Because see, now, in Togo, they damn near about to throw out Nassimbe out of Togo. And Bill in Cameroon, all of those Uncle Tom puppets who France got in power,
They're coming out.
they better throw their ass out. Yeah, they better throw them out. But see, the one thing, like you was talking about, Africa, like Cassidra say, Africa is not poor. Africa is mineral rich, resource rich, everything. Look, forecast, check this out. They always talking about the infrastructure, about like the electric power stuff. If left alone, if we get all these motherfucking devils out of Africa, out the Congo, and get the old weak presidents like Chesekedi out, the Congo River is is the most powerful river in the world. It's fast. The Congo River if they could harness and dam it, the Congo River could electrify all of Africa and Western Europe. That's what the white folks said. You know what I'm saying? That's how much power they have. Now just imagine them harnessing their resource, harnessing their river, damming it, and doing what they got to do, and they could give electricity to all our people over there. You know what I'm saying? You see what they try to do to Ethiopia when they built the Renaissance Dam. You know what I'm saying? Egypt went to talk to Trump and said we're gonna bomb it. You know, instead of playing out and bomb it, because they're gonna dam the Nile River. You know what I'm saying? Ethiopia gonna dam the Nile River and give electric power to everybody in East Africa. You know what I'm saying? They was pissed off about that, and you got Mr. Trump. Oh well, Egypt has the right to, all this old bullshit right here. But see, that's what happened.
Don't even think they're in Africa. What kind of idiots are they?
See, that's what happens when we allow these motherfuckers to come in, and this when we allow them with aid and all this old stuff here, because then you got to dance to their tune. Like you said, Africa does not need no aid. Aid ain't nothing but a death trap.
Exactly. They don't need no aid.
Yeah, they don't need no aid. What they need is for you motherfuckers to leave them the fuck alone. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and even when you're working with some of them, hey, let's get what we can get out of them. Just like in Burkina, Trail and them and Goita and Chiani, what they trying to do? They trying to build a nuclear facility in Burkina now. So they could give clean fuel to Africa. And see, and in America, the West, they don't want that shit. These niggas got nuclear weapons, nuclear stuff. They don't want that shit, because see, this now goes to us further developing, being able to defend ourselves from you motherfuckers coming over here.
Exactly.
I'm saying, and my last thing is this that I wanted to say, I want to consider, if you can, to the people who don't know, because a lot of people don't know how it works. Could you break down the LLC?
Yeah, how to develop it, and you're creating. Well, go ahead. Are you done? Go ahead and finish what you were saying. I'll break it down.
Yeah, I want to break down that LLC, because a lot of people don't know how to do that.
Okay. And how I did it. You're going to go through the IRS to create an EIN. Okay. You're getting your EIN first. Okay. You do your business name. Of course, here in North Carolina, we had to look it up to see if it was already taken. If it's not already taken, then you're going to go through the state, okay, of North Carolina, okay, and you're paying, I think it was like $65, okay. You can do an LLC, or you can do the corporation. I chose the LLC. It's depending on what kind of business you want to do. Some people agree to do the corporation. Some people do the LLC. Now, the corporation, I think the tax is a little bit different. But they say that one's supposed to be better, but just depending on what you want to do with your business, I did the LLC. Now you can turn around later and you can create the corporation, but you can still put them both on your taxes. Okay. So I created the LLC, which is limited liability. Okay. But the corporations like I said, they say that's a little bit better, but it's just depending on what you want to do. I think it's the more you doing the corporations, the taxes and all that is a little different. But with the LLC, if you have a small base business, that works fine. You're still covered, and you can literally buy stuff with your LLC, because you're going to do. I did like a number. It's called a bin number or something, but now they automatically do it for you. Did I even say that right? Hold on. It might not be the bin number, but hold on. I'll look that up. But it's a number that helps you to create your businesses, and you can get your business through create. Hold on. Let me look at that. I think it's called. I want to say. It's not a bin number. It's called something else because I have one. And what I found out, they created when you create your business, they DUNS number. That's what it is, the DUNS number. I'm sorry. So now what I found out, they created for you. So you can use, and a lot of places want that DUNS number. So if you have that DUNS number, it's almost like you're building up business credits. So that's how you're able to buy, you can buy an apartment, you can buy a house, you can buy a car through your business, okay, and put it under your business. And also you could put it into a trust. So if you want to leave your, say for instance, your mom and she's older and she wants to leave her house to you, don't leave it to you, put it in a trust with you being the beneficiary. Then that way you won't have to pay the taxes and all this other stuff that comes with the house. It already, everything is already done. You don't have to pay the taxes, and when you want to sell it, you don't have to pay those extra. It's a lot. Just put it in a trust and make your children the beneficiary. So when you die, it automatically goes to your children. Some people don't understand that either, but it's a lot. It's not that much to it, but it's just you understanding what you're doing, and you have to have the right tax people that you're working with, because some people don't know how to, everything you write off everything. Some people don't understand that. If you have an average, it's just different types of taxpayers that you want to get. So you want one that knows about investments, and because it's two different types. You have a taxpayer that just know the average taxing, and you're going to pay all kind of taxes. No, you're going to get one that you can write off everything. Even if you going out to dinner, even if you have a little office in your house, everything that you buy in your house, you can consider it for your business, and you're writing that stuff off. You're writing off everything. I don't care if you're going to get gas, you're going to get gas. Okay, that's your business. You write it off. Your car is your business. Everything is your business. Everything. You write off everything. And some people aren't writing off enough stuff, so they're still owing taxes. You shouldn't have a business and owing taxes. Everything gets to be written off. That's how Trump and a lot of those politicians aren't paying taxes, because they're writing everything off. And I mean everything. If they buying a pair of drawers, I bought that for my business. I wore that, under my business suit. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So everything is connected to your business. But it's just getting that EIN number. And some people if you want to advertise something, you create a website. One individual, she wanted to sell like gym shoes. Okay, get with a company. You partner with that company. You create a website. You put their merchandise on your website. When people see it, they buy it. They buying it from you. You're ordering it from the company. The company is drop shipping it and sending it out, so you don't even touch any merchandise. It's so many ways of doing a business. And you can literally do a business for $50. $50, which you can create a website. I know Shopify used to be free. I think now you're paying maybe $10, maybe $20, but you're creating your you buying your name. You go into GoDaddy, you buy your business, the name. You're going to connect it. You can buy it for years, like maybe $10, $15. Sometimes you can get it for a penny. Sometimes you can get it for $1. Okay, and for a year, and then the next year you'll pay like $10 or something like that. It's not that much. I mean, it's so easy to do this stuff. You just have to know what you want to call it, and you can get cards. You can go and order you some cards, vista.com, and order you some business cards. You pay maybe $10, $9.99 for 25, 30 cards, 50 cards, maybe a little bit more if you want 100 cards. But it's so easy to do this stuff, you guys. It's so easy. And networking, you get it out. Everywhere you go, you take your business cards, you give it out. Everywhere you go, you know people, you meet people. Sometimes you can just hold something in your hand. People looking at you. Hey, let me give you a card. Walk up to me. Hey, let me give you one of my business cards. And then that's a great conversation. or whatever you're wearing, you advertise. It could be a suit, it could be a jogging suit that you're advertising. Oh man, where you get that from? Let me give you my card. That came off my website. See how easy that was to get a client right then and there. That's customers. I mean, it's so easy. You just have to want to do it, and it's not going to happen overnight. I don't want anybody to think this is, you're going to get rich overnight. No, it takes time. It takes you networking. It takes you getting out there, and you shouldn't go anywhere without having your cards on you. You have to have your cards and pass them out. Don't just have them in your purse and you're not passing them out. Why do you have them with you if you're not going to use them? Take flyers. Put your flyers up, grocery store. Put your flyers up on your webpage. Put your flyers up at your IG. Put your flyers up. You can pay. I had seen it was a young lady on Instagram, and she was charging only $20 to market for you, and she had a huge following. Who wouldn't do that? Like, really, who wouldn't do that? Come on, you guys. There's people out there that'll help. They're trying to get out there, and you paying her $20 to advertise for you, and she's got a really nice, large following. Why not pay her to do it for you? So I hope I kind of answered the question. I really didn't go into details, but it's enough details for you to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's great, Cassidra. That's great because because a lot of people ask me about it. My auntie, she a businesswoman, and like they be asking me about her, and so I'm just saying, a lot of people they hear the word, but they don't know exactly what it is. That's why I want you to break it down.
Limited liability is so easy to do. You're going through the state, and it's just a $65 fee that you're paying, and you have to have that paperwork exactly right. You send it in, and they'll send it back to you, and you have a business. That's it. It's registered through the state, and that's literally what you're doing, registering your business through the state. And yes, you're going to pay every year. You're going to pay I think I pay like $200 and some dollars every year. I think it was $200 this year for my business. So yeah, you just have to have that money aside because you got to pay it. It's going to be due. And you just make sure that when they give you those emails, check your emails, and they're gonna tell you what's due, when it's due, and you make sure that you're doing your taxes like you're supposed to. Midterm, sometimes they'll tell you, hey, we just want to know, we want you to come in here and pull it up, and we want you to file your midterms and all this stuff. It's not hard at all. They're telling you what to do as you do it, as you go. So it's nothing that, you just follow directions, it's not hard because they tell you what they need, and you go on their website, or you can call them and they'll tell you how to do it. That's as simple as that. It's not hard at all. You just have to establish something. You have to have something, to be able to sustain, to survive. I mean, just like Patriot sent me something for an affiliate, and I'm like, wow. So I'm like, okay, I need to put that somewhere. But these are products that they're gonna, like the food. The food is like you get a little crate, and it's for 2 years. You can keep the food for 5 or 6 years. That's what Patriot does. They have generators, they have camping gear, they have everything you need. And a guy wrote me the other day, hey, are you still interested in doing Patriot? And they selling the food and, generators, and, you can even pay on this food. It doesn't cost, it may cost you, I think, maybe $100 and some dollars. You can pay $50 on it. It is food for like so many hours, so many days, If it's an emergency, if the grid go down for like 72 hours, you get enough food for 72 hours, but that's, because a lot of time they're saying people, the first 3 days is when you really need that food to survive. And a lot of people don't have enough food or water. The grid go down, you got to have water. So I hope you guys are collecting that water. But yeah, I'll rest with that.
So Anthony, you want to say something to wrap it up, or we'll get off of here?
No, I'm pretty much, that's pretty good, man. I just want to ask Cassidra about that LLC. But I'm good, man, and as always, it was a great show, man, and it was great to be on the show with two great people, man.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming through. Definitely, Cassidra, you want to say something?
I just appreciate the time, just the time to come on here and just share, just trying to wake Black folk up, just trying to give people ideas of something to do, something extra to bring in. So many struggling, so many people are here struggling, and they looking for things that they can do. What's your gift? Whatever your gift is, that's what you want to do, because your gift is not like it's going to be work. It's something you love to do and you can do it for free. That's your gift. And find out what your gift is and just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. I rest. Thank you. And thanks for coming on, Anthony. It was good to see you.
Yeah. So yeah. Shouts out to Anthony. I appreciate you coming through.
Thanks for the invite, Forecast. Thank you.
Yeah. Shouts out to Matron who was in the building. Y'all subscribe to her. I think she's gonna be live tomorrow. I think at 7 o'clock. So y'all subscribe to her. Shouts out to Raw in the building. Appreciate you coming through.
Yeah.
And y'all support Realm in the Bush organization. Shouts out to Cassidra for making time for this every week, and definitely keeping it positive. We gonna I think it was a good, we need to continue these conversations because our interactions with each other is just as important, and financially and controlling our own destiny and all of that stuff is important. So I appreciate the whole thing. So as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.
Peace, family.